Let's chat a little bit about the Arnold Clark Cup. We're just Arnold Clarking around over here on A3. The second edition of the tournament officially going to kick off on February the 16th. It's one of several round robin style tournaments that will be taking place during this specific February international window. And if you don't know, now you know the Arnold Clark Cup can be viewed on Paramount Plus. I don't know if people knew that. Last year, the first edition of Arnold Clark Cup was on Paramount Plus. And guess what? You're going to get to watch the second edition of this one. But a little different. England are still a host in this one. Lioness welcoming 3 new teams into this competition. They will welcome Italy, they will welcome Belgium, and they will welcome South Korea into this year's version of the Arnold Clark Cup.
Yeah, jazzed about this one as well. It's only the second year of the Arnold Clark Cup. There was like a plethora of memes about like who is Arnold Clark like last year. So I'm pretty excited about that. But this year it's a bit different. Last year, remember, it was Spain, Canada, Germany all playing in the Arnold Clark Cup. England ends up winning it. And that kind of kicked off England's like year of success last year, right? Because they win this round robin tournament in February, early in the year last year. Then they go on to win the Euros. And this is now an England team that has this giant arrow on their back and this big X on their back as they head into a World Cup year. So the fact that this tournament is back again, not at all surprising. There was a lot of success last year as it is played in England, hosted by England. And now getting a couple different teams in it this year in Italy, Belgium, South Korea, as well as England, who are the reigning champions of this. Rosters have come out for all of these nations and who they're bringing. I was pretty impressed to look at England's roster. Serena Wigman, she's got 26 players. And you and I have talked a lot about numbers on rosters, whether it's with the United States or with other nations, because at the World Cup, there are only going to be 23 players as of now, right? And I'm not so sure that's going to change. I think some nations are trying to get that to change and have FIFA announce it's going to be 26 players. But as of right now, it's only 23. So to have, I'm pretty sure all England, Belgium, Italy, and South Korea, I'm pretty sure all of their rosters are 26 players, if not maybe 25 in there. But with England, it's also a roster that we haven't seen in a little bit, because the most recent FIFA window in November, there's a lot of big names missing from this England roster. And now we've got Lucy Bronze back, Leah Williamson, Fran Kirby, Lauren Hemp. They're all back after they missed that November camp. There's Lauren James, the 21-year-old, the Chelsea superstar right now that is just dominating. She's on this English roster again for Wigman. I'm excited about England. This is a team that they want to win it again, right? This is a tournament that you host yourself. It's got similar vibes to She Believes Cup for the United States. But the competition's great too, right? Between Belgium, Italy, and South Korea. Like these are top 20 FIFA ranked teams. I'm jazzed. I am so jazzed to watch this one. And you look at Italy, like that's a great team too. Like they didn't do the best in the Euros last summer. They really didn't. They got kicked out in the group stage, but they're preparing for a World Cup. A team that went, I believe, to the quarters in 2019 was Italy. So they're looking to get back to that type of place this summer as well. It's all preparation for the World Cup.
Yeah, I think that's sort of the angle that I've been looking at. I think, I listen. If people are looking for all of things that are going on during this February window, I wrote them up for you on .com, so you could take a look at some of the nations that are going to, compete in this window in a lot of different types of round robin style tournaments. The big ones I think that are sticking out for people because of the teams that are involved in them are things like a She Believes Cup or Arnold Clark Cup or Tournoi de France. And I think when we're just talking about Arnold Clark Cup specifically, I, even though it's in its second edition and they rotated new teams into this, there's 3 teams amongst the 4 of them that are World Cup bound teams. She Believes Cup is the only one that has all 4 of its participating teams going to the World Cup. But a lot of these tournaments, that is the angle that's what I'm looking at. It's an opportunity here in this February window for World Cup competition to get a look at other World Cup competition. And that's not no like little petty thing. That's like a very cool, very important thing. I would imagine not only Serena Wigman, but all of the coaches involved in the Arnold Clark Cup are looking at that angle as well. Like, who are some players that we could possibly see down the line
Mhm.
in a World Cup, and how are they going to line up against England tactically, because this is the team with the target, right? Not only are they winners of current title holders of the Arnold Clark Cup based off of last year's results, but these are the reigning European champions. They went on that
Yeah.
incredible run during the summer of soccer in 2022, and now here we are with our eyes all on this February window. But I love that even with those types of targets, those types of big bright lights shining on you, a coach like Serena Williams is not intimidated by getting different looks at players. I mean, we're talking 26 players for this window. I mean,
Yeah.
it's almost like she's like, I'm gonna call in 26 because I'm gonna make it seem like I have to call 26 players for the World Cup. But I mean, we're talking about a team coming off of that epic summer that they have. They don't have somebody like a Beth Mead. And while they have a lot of capable talent kind of in their attack, you have to also look at momentum and cohesion and what that
Mhm.
means for the Lionesses moving forward. So, are we going to see over the course of these 3 games, are we going to see different combinations are we going to see Alicia Russo utilizing the starting role capacity versus sort of coming off the bench at times, which we saw that during the run in the Euros. But I know people are also taking a look at maybe the players who are missing from this
Mhm.
roster as well. Like, it's not just a Beth Mead, like based off of her ACL injury. There's no Jordan Nobbs on this one. There's no
I
Beth
know.
England. There's no Nikita Paris. There's no Gabby George. So there's a lot of names. I think, even though you're like, wow, 26 players, there's players that have been kind of rotated out as well. So a lot of similar energy, I think, for coaches
Right.
as the months get more narrow and narrow in the build up to the World Cup, that they are still trying to get a look or cast a wide net, I think, or sort of take a look at the full pool, in front of them, really, during this window as well. I think maybe there might be the questions that have presented themselves for certain coaches or certain rosters up to this point, I think might get some answers out of this window, because again, I think this is a very unique window of time for a lot of teams to get those questions answered. This is from my understanding, going to be the only window that sort of has these multiple round robin style tournaments. Well, yes, of course, there's going to
Right.
be a few more international windows that come up. They're more your traditional type of windows where you can have only a couple of games. So we're likely to see future international window announcements made where it's like, hey, the Lionesses are going to face off against Team X, and it will be on these 2 days. Or the United States women's national team is going to play against Team Y, and it's going to be these 2 dates during this window.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the opportunity that is in front of them right now, where there's this sort of this round robin style with short breaks in between games and multiple games within a
And
week
more
span of time.
opportunities to play various competition, right? Like, because this is like you, same as in She Believes, like with Arnold Clark, these nations get the opportunity to play against 3 different competitions. That'll give you 3 different styles of football that will like throw at you many different challenges. And this is the real big start to the buildup of the World Cup for these nations. And
Yeah.
because of that, I think heading into it, I think Belgium's the only team that's not preparing for a World Cup at this point. So they're going to throw at England and Italy and South Korea everything they've got to prove why they should have been at the World Cup at this point. But you're exactly right. The rest of the FIFA window is coming up before we hit July, when it is the Women's World Cup, are most likely, like 99% of the time, just going to be one other nation in these friendlies, whether it's for England or Italy or South Korea or even the United States, that they will be competing against. So it's opportunities like these where you really have to take advantage. I'm so excited for this one. I think the competition is going to be really good. I think I'm most excited to watch England versus South Korea. That's a matchup that I am jazzed about. South Korea is such a tremendous team to watch in these types of competitions. And with England being the reigning champs of Arnold Clark and Euro champions heading into this one, they've now got a lot, most of their firepower back, not all of it. I'm excited to see kind of how they line up against a South Korean side, and what those different tactical changes that they can take away from. Like, I'm excited from just a purely fan standpoint to see what happens, but also the technical side of my brain, and in preparation for a World Cup, and as a very proud American, that I'm excited to see what England does in response to what South Korea throws at them, in a learning curve for the United States heading into World Cup competition coming down the line.
Oh no, I'm with you 100%. I mean, when I was writing up all the tournaments, I had South Korea as, you know, maybe unfairly listed kind of as a spoiler type of team. And then I say unfairly because, I mean, I think amongst the 4 teams that are going to participate in Arnold Clark, right after England, they're the next highest rated team, I believe. I think they might be at like right at 15 versus Italy and Belgium, who are below that. But they're also the only non-European side participating in the Arnold Clark Cup. So maybe, of course, naturally, I was like, well, I'm going to definitely like take a look at what South Korea is looking at, and maybe sort of dub them as spoiler. This is maybe a team that that a lot of these nations, whether it's England or Italy or Belgium, have not had the opportunity to play against. And a lot of the South Korean players, they've got experience in a lot of different leagues as well, right? So it's not just, clubs throughout Asian nations, but we're talking about, playing in Spanish league. We're talking about playing right in FAWSL. They've got, a couple players who previously played with Chelsea.
Yes. G's so young. Yes, I'm so excited to watch G. I was so excited.
The biggest one. Yeah, that's the highlight.
Like 8-9 years at Chelsea. She left last summer, and that's like I'm going to call myself out here. I haven't watched her play the midfielder in about a year, right? Last summer when she left Chelsea, I haven't stuck up enough with her club game. So I'm really jazzed to see her, especially going up against England and like all her old teammates in competition from the Super League and with Chelsea. Totally.
Yeah, no, I mean, and it's just like that's the headline name, that's a breakout name, but Park Yoon is someone who's also plays in the Women's Super League, and it's just there's going to be opportunity, I think, here for between some of these matches for certain teams to play spoiler. And while I think we could look at South Korea as one of those teams, I think maybe if you're going off of like recency bias and like what we were paying attention to during that run of Euros in July, or during the qualifier process, maybe a team like Belgium, might try to get in there and spoil some things. And even if they don't come away with a full 3 points out of some of these games, they might make it very, very hard for another team like Italy, for example. I'm very curious about how that result is going to pan out when it's Italy versus Belgium. So very excited for the Arnold Clark Cup, and so many. Go ahead. I see it.
So because of these, just looking at like fixtures, we're talking about them. I'm going to plug them a little bit. So it starts on Thursday, the 16th. That's when Italy plays Belgium, and then England will be against South Korea. All the games are double headers happening. So back to back. Yes. And then, so that's Thursday, the 16th of February, and then Sunday, the 19th. Yeah.
Where can you watch them, Lisa?
Paramount Plus. Of course you can watch them on Paramount Plus. So Sunday the 19th, it's England versus Italy, and then Belgium versus South Korea. And then it all concludes on Wednesday the 22nd, Korea against Italy and Belgium versus England. But I think Thursday the 16th is the day that I'm like the most excited for, because we get England, South Korea. We also get Italy, Belgium, right, of course. But the later game being Italy, South Korea, that I'm jazzed for. And then decision day, which will be Wednesday the 22nd, because of the round robin.
Look, let Thursday be a full slate of soccer for you all. I'm sure folks are going to watch She Believes Cup, but you know what you could do in the morning? You can do in the daytime. You can
Yeah.
maybe watch a little bit of Arnold Clark Cup. I'm sure we are going to have a busy slate of games for you and I, buddy. Can't wait to watch a maddening
Next week.
amount of soccer next week with you.